They lack mercy. They lack compassion. And so, for example, when a woman comes in bent over with an illness, it's an actual affliction by a demon. It says she comes in afflicted and bent over. And the Pharisees, not looking at Jesus, they're looking at the crowds in the synagogue. They say, listen, don't come in here on the Sabbath to be healed. You have 6 other days to work. And Jesus responds to them with their own behavior. And he says, don't you untie your animal on the Sabbath? Don't you loose your animal on the Sabbath? So shouldn't this woman be loosed from this bondage? They can say nothing. So this lack of mercy, to me, looking at the disciples' behavior, looking at the Pharisees' behavior, I see in Matthew, when Jesus feeds the 5,000, right after he's finished teaching, the disciples are ready to send the people away. And Jesus is like, no, we need to feed them. And why would the disciples not be ready to do that? One, because disciples were supposed to bring the bread to feed the people who were there. But anyway, Jesus takes what's there and makes it work, because only Jesus can. And there's a woman that comes crying out to Jesus for her daughter to be healed from a demon. The disciples say, send her away, for she is crying out after us. Now, I see 2 things there. One, I see a lack of mercy and compassion on their part. And 2, I see that this woman didn't ask for them. She was coming after Jesus. And like the Pharisees, who took the law of Moses, which was here, they took all their thoughts about how to apply the law of Moses, how to interpret it correctly, and they made it equal. I see the same thing in an abstract way, where Jesus is here and the woman is crying out for Jesus. The disciples' response is, send her away, for she is crying out after us. She ain't called for y'all, but she's not coming after you. She's crying out for Jesus, but you have somehow elevated what you do to what only God can do, what Jesus can do. So I think that was starting to creep in. All right, so that's enough. So they were lacking mercy. Oh, I'm sorry, there was one more. Jesus has just finished teaching. There are 4,000. And Jesus, before the disciples can display this lack of mercy again, Jesus says, I will not send them away without feeding them. They've been with us for 3 days. If I send them away, they'll faint along the way. Now, 2 things. When he says, I will not let them away, I think that's in the King James Version. That was a rabbinic saying. Letting people away was a formal declaration that I have completed my task. I have completed my obligation to you. The ones following him closely, before they can even say it, he says, I'm not sending them away. And I would expand that to say, Jesus does that for all of us, and going all the way to the cross. He didn't just come and teach us and then let us away. He went all the way to the cross before he let us away. And he's looking at his disciples who are not yet modeling it. They're acting closer to the Pharisees in their reluctance to show mercy and compassion to the people who are crying after Christ.